Is this the end of the death wobble? The MetalCloak heavy-duty steering system is in, and if this doesn't fix the Gladiator, I don't know what will. Today, we're going nuclear. Welcome back to Muddy Rutz. This is part 8 of the Death Wobble series, and we've replaced just about everything. Now we're replacing the factory hollow bars with these solid steel zinc-plated beasts from MetalCloak. First rule of steering, never skip the anti-seize. You'll thank yourself 3 years from now. I'm matching the length of the new MetalCloak bars to the factory ones I pulled during the track bar install. We're using the center of the grease fittings as our guide. This won't be perfect, but it'll get us to the alignment shop without the computer losing its mind. Okay, I'm ready to install the drag link. One end is going here in the pitman arm, and it's going to be this end with the adjuster on it, and the other end is going to be going in the steering knuckle right here. So I put the strap here to hold one end of the drag link up while I connect the other end. In sheet metal, if you ever hung gutters, they usually send you out with 25-foot lengths of gutter by yourself. You have to put a strap on the end of the building or side of the building to hold one end for you, and that's kind of like where I learned to do this. We want to have these centered up as much as we can because that's how we avoid ball joint flop. These are anti-flop ball joints. I'll slide one end up here through my dead man. Nice having the tie rod out of the way. No problem fitting this up in here. We'll just snug this bolt up for now. Now I'll try to get this end in the pitman arm and then get everything kind of facing the way it's supposed to go. Okay. Now I'm started on both sides. Get this tie rod installed now. I'm going to use this footstool to help hold up one side of it. Now we're going to get the 4 ball joints we just installed torqued. The 2 on the tie rod get torqued to 47 foot-pounds. The 2 on the drag link get torqued differently. The steering knuckle side gets torqued to 47 foot-pounds. The pitman arm side gets torqued to 77 foot-pounds. We're going to have to stop the spindle from turning by putting a 10mm socket that's going to be out of our way, tighten the nut to 47 foot-pounds. You can see that I wouldn't be able to get a socket over the top of this, so I'm using this crow's foot. So when you're torquing with this crow's foot on here, you have to remember that when you have it 90 degrees, like I've got it here to the torque wrench, then our torque value is going to stay exactly the same. Now, if I was to turn crow's foot and be using it straight off the end of the torque wrench, then we have to use a complicated mathematical formula to alter our torque. So I'm going to make sure I use mine at 90 degrees, and I can just go ahead and get my 47 foot-pounds. There we go. So now the joint that connects the drag link to the pitman arm doesn't use a 10mm socket to stop the spindle from turning. It uses a 6mm Allen wrench. I put the Allen wrench in here and I used one of my blue cam straps to hold it, and I tied it onto my sway bar link up here, and that's going to hold the spindle from spinning while I torque this nut to 77 foot-pounds. So I'm going to have to use my torque wrench with the crow's foot sticking straight out the front, which is going to change the torque value. So now I'm not going to be using the 90, I'm going to be sticking straight out the front of the torque wrench. I went from 77 foot-pounds, and after doing the math, now I'm down to just 70.25 or 70 1/4. This is a really difficult spot to get to, but this is a critical torque setting. There we go. Awesome. So I set up a little DIY alignment here, and I used this piece of 5/8 strut, one on either side, 2 foot long, and I used a Jeep lug nut on the stud to hold it there. You can see my strut is really flush against the brake rotor, and I took my aluminum level and compared it with the strut. It's nice and straight. I got a couple tape measures stretched out here, and I'm trying to get a 1/8 inch toe in, and I think I got it. I'm about 69 5/8, and I'm out a little farther, 69 3/4. So judging by my DIY alignment setup here, I got my 1/8 inch toe in. It's going to be interesting when I take it for the alignment to the alignment shop and see what the lasers say. I'm going to try to get a printout before they get going, when they just got it set up, and then a printout when they're done. Well, I got my toe in set, I got my jam nuts locked on the tie rod, and now I can finally put the wheels back on the front of this Jeep Gladiator. I didn't realize when I started this nuclear option death wobble project that my OEM Jeep wheels were not going to work with the new MetalCloak steering system. If I would have looked a little closer at MetalCloak's website, I would have realized that it says right on there that the OEM wheels with their backspace are probably not going to work with the new MetalCloak parts. Actually, that gave me a good excuse to go ahead and purchase some new wheels for this Gladiator. So it's pretty easy to tell that I like Steelies. These are Mopars. These are BlackRock 942 Type D Steelies, made in the USA, and they have a 4.5-inch backspace that should easily work with my new suspension components from MetalCloak. There's actually a pretty interesting story behind why I chose these particular wheels. I'm going to make a totally separate video on these wheels, and there'll be a link in the description to that video. I only own 2 floor jacks, so I was only able to take 2 wheels off at a time. So as soon as I get these mounted on the front here, I'll be able to jack up the back, throw the floor jacks under there, and take the other wheels down to the tire shop and have them swapped over onto the new BlackRock wheels. You can see the bore on these BlackRock wheels is larger than the bore on the hub bearing on the Jeep. I'll be mounting these wheels today in a lug-centric method where we're going to finger tight all the lug nuts in a crisscross pattern and then drop the Jeep down so all the weight of the Jeep is on the tire and then torque them to 130 pounds. The lug-centric method of mounting these wheels is not a bad way to go, but the ideal way when you're fighting vibration is by adding a hub-centric ring that would increase the size of the Jeep's bore to match the size of the bore on the wheel. Unfortunately, I ordered some hub-centric rings and they sent the wrong size. I ordered another set and I haven't got them yet. So I'm forced to mount these this way in this particular time. When I get those hub-centric rings, I'm going to remount these. Front tires are on, back tires are off. I just got to load these 2 tires and 2 of these wheels into the back of my Wrangler, and I'm heading down to the tire shop and get these next 2 tires road force balanced. This is where you find out just how heavy a set of 35s are, and these aren't even real big 35s. Fitting 2 of these into the Jeep, not the easiest thing, but my best option right now. Just got to remember to bend the knees. Now just 2 of these nice BlackRock Steelies, and we're ready to go. Next step in the nuclear option, tires. We aren't just doing a good enough balance today. We're using the Hunter Hammerhead Road Force Balancing System. This setup uses a load roller to find imperfections that a normal balancer would miss. Time for the swap. We're breaking the beads on the Mickey Thompsons and moving them over to the BlackRock Steelies. These D windows are going to give the Gladiator a whole new attitude. A little tire lube, a mount, and a ride in the inflation cage, and we're nearly there. One final check on the Hunter machine to make sure everything is dialed in. With the tires road force balanced, we can officially rule them out as a cause of the shakes. Now let's get back to the garage and finish that steering install. Well, that was a bit of work, but now all 4 Steelies are on the Gladiator. If you're like me and you like Steelies, then you probably think these look pretty awesome. The next step is getting the steering wheel dialed in at 6 and 12, or the computer will send us into limp mode when we try to drive over to the alignment shop. We'll get a few turns on the adjuster on this drag link, and then we'll check the wheel to see how good we are. Well, that's pretty close. Not great. I'll give it a couple more turns to dial it in a little more, and that'll be good enough to get us to the next step. MetalCloak greases these joints before they leave the factory, but they recommend adding some more grease before you start driving around on your new steering parts. So the last part of the steering system to install is the steering stabilizer, which I put right here. I'm not going to actually install it all the way today because I got this included bracket, which is a fine bracket, stout. It's going to hold the steering stabilizer here on the tie rod. They make a really tricked out billet aluminum one I'm going to order before I install this steering stabilizer. And also that'll keep it out of the way for when I take it to the alignment shop to get it aligned. The alignment guy won't have to fight it, and it's not necessary for anything other than just taking some vibration out. That's the last part, but I'm just going to take this off for now, and we'll move on to taking a test drive in the Gladiator. Well, the nuclear option is officially installed, and the steering feels tighter already, but the real test comes on the highway. For the full parts list and spec sheet, head over to muddyruttzz.com, and if you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe button so you're here for the Part 9 test drive. Thanks for watching, and on Muddy Rutz, don't forget, the best is yet to come.